Coming up, hear what's helping these seniors feel alive again.
We've seen members who don't talk very much start to sing.
Plus,
morality, integrity, where is that in our culture today?
Scott Ross hits the streets to ask the sin question.
I'm just being honest with you.
And then, Andy Kraut shares how to live life in a tech-centric world today on the 700 Club.
Well, welcome to the 700 Club. The feckless Republicans have done it again. They promised for 7 years that they would replace Obamacare. People are suffering because of the high premiums. Those exchanges are going bankrupt. All across the country, there is the litter of the damage being done by Obamacare. If a business has 50 or more employees, it's subject to different kind of penalties and so forth. So it's so easy for a business to keep its employment low. This has been a job killer. You can't imagine all the damage that's been done. So the Republicans ran on the premise that they were going to repeal and replace Obamacare. But they lied. They lied to the American people. You know, the president lied. He said, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. If you like your plan, you can keep your plan. He lied. So the Republicans did the same thing. And Senator Susan Collins of Maine says, okay, I'm going to oppose it so they don't have 50 votes to carry it. And they go down in flames again. Wendy, I don't understand it. This thing is an abomination.
There's a lot of people saying that very same thing, Pat, and that defeat comes after the White House and GOP leaders in Congress worked hard to get enough votes to pass it. Charlene Aaron has the story.
Republican lawmakers revised the bill several times in an attempt to win over Republican holdouts, while its sponsors had defended the measure.
My state had a 31% premium increase under Obamacare. If we don't repeal and replace, it's a disaster for South Carolina.
With the Republicans' narrow 52-48 majority, it only took 3 GOP votes to kill the bill. Monday, President Trump had seemed cautious about the bill's success.
We have 52 votes, so we can't lose any votes. I mean, practically. So we're going to lose 2 or 3 votes, and that's the end of that.
2 Republican senators, Rand Paul and John McCain, had already opposed the bill.
There are some things that are good in the bill. My concern still is that we have a $700 billion deficit, and I think that this bill basically immortalizes the spending. The spending will go on and on and on, and I don't think anybody's taking account for what that does to the deficit.
Then Monday, the Congressional Budget Office released a preliminary review of the Republican bill, showing that it would save money over the next 10 years, $133 billion. But people could lose insurance, although many of those could simply be dropping out of the system, not actually losing insurance. The CBO wasn't clear on exact estimates of how many Americans would be uninsured. And then Maine Senator Susan Collins came out against the bill.
It would have a negative impact on millions of Americans who are now insured. So it was that final piece of the puzzle that I had been waiting to confirm.
And Collins says the legislation would likely drive up insurance premiums for millions of Americans and weaken protections. Shortly after Collins's announcement, Senator Ted Cruz tweeted, "We cannot give up on Obamacare repeal. We must keep working. We can get to yes." But with 3 Republican senators standing against the bill and unlikely to change, it is essentially dead on arrival. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
I tell you, doesn't that make you sick? You know, the dirty little secret. I mentioned it yesterday, I'll say it again. Under Obama, there was a special carve-out for the members of Congress, for their staffs, and for certain selected people in the government. How did they do it? Well, they said that the House and the Senate are small businesses. Can you believe that? Small businesses. They deal with billions and billions of dollars, but yet they said that they're small businesses. Why does that matter? Well, in a small business, it is permissible under the law to subsidize the health premiums of your employees. If it's a bigger business, you can't do it, but it's if you have less than 50 employees, if you're a small business. Now, how do they subsidize it? The federal government, get this, the federal government pays roughly 73% of the premiums of the congressmen, the congressional staff, the people in the government. So the terrible increases in premiums that are taking place across the country are not affecting them. Now, if the president wants to put the screws to them, he ought to revoke that small business stuff, because it was merely an executive order that put it in place, and say they're not small businesses, they're big businesses, and they've got to pay, and they cannot subsidize the health care of their employees. That's what they do. They carve out something nasty, and they take the good stuff and they keep it for themselves, and they stick the rest of us. But the premiums are going up in certain states as much as 200%. The exchanges are going bankrupt all across the country. It is chaos. What is Susan Collins and what are these other senators talking about? People are going to lose their health care. They're not going to lose anything. The new bill would put something in place to substitute for this failed system. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's politics, and I don't understand it. But, you know, McCain said, well, we want to have regular order. How much regular order was it when the Democrats jammed that law through without one single Republican vote and jammed it through, what was it, on New Year's Eve or something? It was some crazy thing. Harry Reid jammed it through. There wasn't any debate. There wasn't any debate. They jammed this monstrosity through, and now he says, well, we've got to have regular order. Baloney. I'm mad.
How do you really feel?
I am disgusted. I really am disgusted. And I think a lot of people are disgusted, and they're going to vote against these clowns because they were not doing what they pledged to do. McCain ran on the thing that he was a man who was going to take down Obamacare.
Yeah.
And
well,
having run on that platform, he lies when he gets the vote. Well, in other news, the United States is making it clear it has not gone to war against North Korea. John Jessup has that.
That's right, Pat. North Korea's foreign minister considers a tweet by President Trump a declaration of war. National security correspondent Eric Rosales reports on the war of words and what could happen if the North carries out its threat to test a hydrogen bomb over the Pacific Ocean.
North Korea's top diplomat accused President Trump of openly declaring war on his country. The foreign minister of North Korea claims in this tweet, which states Little Rocket Man won't be around much longer, gives the rogue nation every right to strike back.
Since the U.S. has made a declaration of war, we will have every right to make countermeasures, including the right to shoot down the United States strategic bombers, even if they do not come into our airspace.
The State Department rapidly pushed back, telling CBN News the United States has not declared war on North Korea. We continue to seek a peaceful denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Pentagon officials also spoke out, defending the right to conduct flyovers, including this past weekend's show of military strength, as B-1 bombers and F-15 fighter jets flew along the North Korean coast, farther north than any American aircraft in decades.
It is our hope that they stop these provocations and their pursuit of their nuclear program. Again,
if they do a nuclear test?
Well, again, that goes back to, our job is to make sure that the president has those options. We've got a deep arsenal of options to provide the president to make a decision if that were to occur.
If North Korea follows through with a hydrogen bomb nuclear test over the Pacific, radioactive fallout could be catastrophic. Thus far, all 6 North Korean nuclear tests have been underground, containing the radioactivity. But the threatening H-bomb test would destroy or contaminate marine life. Plus, the wind would send a radioactive cloud over populated areas.
We are approaching a Cuban Missile Crisis-like situation. Okay, the threat of nuclear war is not necessarily high, but it's real.
Daryl Kimball, executive director of the Washington, D.C.-based think tank Arms Control Association, believes the U.S. needs to consider how involving other countries might help cut the escalation cycle.
The Chinese, likewise, could play a role in brokering a conversation. The Security Council could meet and bring the North Koreans into the conversation in a closed-door setting. There are things that can be done to establish a dialogue that reduces the risks, and now's the time to do that.
It's unclear if North Korea even has the capability to perform a hydrogen bomb test. However, it's safe to assume the North Korean dictator means what he says and will act on it. Eric Rosales, CBN News, Washington.
And Pat, to Eric's point, every test that Kim's threatened to do, he's actually carried out.
Well, as one congressman said so cogently, this is a country run by a crime family. This is nothing but a crime family, and all they care about is keeping their own power. Didn't he take anti-aircraft guns and shoot people? I mean, didn't he do that? Didn't he have one of his own relatives murdered? This young man doesn't care as long as he keeps power. But the idea of a atmospheric test of a hydrogen bomb is unthinkable because of the fallout of the radiation that comes from it. This is unthinkable, but he might well do it. Now, I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but I, for one, am sick to death of hearing football players who get paid $300,000, $400,000, $20 million, $25 million, $30 million, protesting about injustice. I'm sick of hearing about it. What injustice? The injustice is that they would get paid so much money when so many people suffer in this world. But all this business about insulting the flag, insulting the national anthem, I think the president is on the side of the angels on this one. And the NFL, you know, they used to say that the name of NFL meant not for long. The players don't have but about a 6-year life playing professional football. But it's my feeling that the NFL is doing irreparable harm to its image. People who used to enjoy football think that, okay, if it's politicized, all I'm looking is a political statement. I've got to watch those hulks, overpaid hulks, stand up and then kneel down and then insult the flag or stay in their locker room and they won't come out for the national anthem. I mean, this is outrageous. Well, Dallas owner Jerry Jones has his own way of playing it both sides of the field. He's pretty clever at this. Here's the story.
That's right, Pat. Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones joined his team in kneeling before the national anthem during Monday night's game. Jones, the Cowboys coaching staff, and front office executives locked arms while kneeling on the field. Then they stood during the national anthem. Oklahoma Senator James Lankford tells CBN News although free speech and the right to protest are central to America's freedom, he also believes there's a bit of a double standard.
I do have an issue that I have to tell you. For whatever reason in America, if individual players kneel in protest at a football game, that's seen as free speech. We do have high school coaches that have kneeled in silent prayer and they've been fired. Now, the First Amendment's the First Amendment. It goes start to finish. We can't say to one football coach, you're fired if you kneel in silent prayer at the end of the game, but to a player, if you kneel in protest at a game, you're celebrated.
Lankford adds that if America is going to honor free speech and the free exercise of religion, it should be done for everyone. Well, the Kurdish people took a step towards statehood Monday by voting for independence. Official results won't be released for another day or two, but observers expect a yes vote of 75% or more. As Chris Mitchell reports from Erbil, the question now is what happens next in the Middle East.
After the vote, Kurds took to the streets to celebrate their claim to a country of their own. Hours earlier, they took to the polls. Many came in Kurdish dress and made it a family affair.
these Kurds are exercising their right to vote for independence for the first time. For many, it's one more step in a long history toward a free and independent Kurdistan.
Even though 14-year-old Soma couldn't vote, she came with her family and expressed the hopes of the Kurdish people.
If you're Kurd, this is a special day for you because you're going to be free from now on. If you like, I hope everybody votes for that because it's really special for me.
This is a people achieving a dream they've had for 100 years.
Former Ambassador Peter Galbraith compares the Kurds of today to Americans more than 200 years ago.
They're not asking anything from the Americans except for the Americans to accept that the Kurds have the same right that Americans had in 1776. Only the Kurdish complaints against Iraq are much bigger than the American complaints against George III.
The U.S. opposed the referendum. Retired General Jay Garner says this State Department position is based on the One Iraq policy, which would keep Kurdistan under the influence of the Iranian-backed government in Baghdad.
If we cause the Kurds to stay in the Republic of Iraq, one, we give them to the Iranians. Two, we complete the Shia arc that goes from Tehran through Iran, through Syria, into Lebanon, and wreaks terror on Israel.
Galbraith says this policy puts the U.S. on the wrong side.
To insist on the unity of Iraq under a government in Baghdad that is Iran's closest ally in the world, that created a militia which is commanded by General Qasem Soleimani, the head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, and which is on Kurdistan's borders. And instead of siding with the Kurds, the Trump administration siding with Iran and General Qasem Soleimani.
Galbraith and Garner say the Kurds could stop Iran's reach and be a haven for Christians.
The place that has been protecting Iraq's Christians, the Christians of the Middle East, is Kurdistan.
The Kurds face hostile neighbors opposed to their independence. But that doesn't stop Kurds like Soma dreaming of a free Kurdistan.
It would be a really happy place for Kurd people to be like free. It would be special.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Erbil, Kurdistan.
Thanks, Chris. Pat, how do you think this will shake things out in the Middle East?
Let's face it, Iraq is a creature of the foreign powers who cobbled together something that they called Iraq. That was done probably by the Brits, and so what? It used to be called Mesopotamia. It had all kinds of things. So there is no Iraq as such in history, and they have no more claim over the Kurds than anybody else. Now, these Kurds, the name, you don't understand what wonderful people they are. The Kurds are generous, they're giving, they're loving, and they have a tremendous society built up in that little region where they're in charge. They ought to have their own nation. Now, they also have Kirkuk. They've got some oil up there, and I'm sure the Iraqi central government didn't want to give it up, and they have an arrangement where they have some money going back and forth. But at the same time, I think the Kurds should be allowed to produce their oil and market it and take the money. But there is a Kurdish enclave in Syria. Syria is broken apart. Syria as a nation really ceases to exist. And so those Kurds deserve independence. Now, the sticking point would come with Turkey. There's a Kurdish enclave in Turkey, and the Turks are just terrified that those Kurds will rise up and somehow overthrow Erdogan. But I think what's got to be done is allow the Kurds, and the United States absolutely should get on the side of the Kurds. The Kurds have fought with us. The Peshmerga has fought with us. The other Kurdish militias have fought with us. They are the major fighting force on our side in the Middle East. And we need to stand with them and let them have their independence. I mean, that is something that absolutely should be done. And it's smart policy, long range, it's smart policy. And if the Turks don't like it, tough luck. Wendy?
All right, we'll see what happens. Well, coming up, the healing power of music.
We've seen members who don't talk very much start to sing.
Music really does something to wake him up and help him to be more engaged with what's going on around him.
see the amazing results of music therapy when we come back.
Well, you may have heard the old saying, quote, music soothes the savage beast. And years ago, people believed in the healing power of music. Today's medical research shows us they were onto something important. As our health reporter, Laurie Johnson, reports, music therapy is a growing part of many treatments.
James Rodriguez learns to talk again by singing favorite hymns from his time in the church choir.
And all God's people said,
Amen.
Amen.
While a massive stroke tried to take James's speech, the music and medicine program at Virginia's Centera Healthcare helps him get it back.
Joy, my King.
We actually use more of our brain when we sing the same phrase versus when we speak it. Because when we're singing, we have melody, rhythm, and emotion. That's how music can re-energize disabled parts of the mind.
We're able to activate more areas of the brain and reroute or create new neural networks so we can get around that damaged area caused by the stroke.
First, patients sing the words.
Hamburger steak. Hamburger steak.
Then transition to speaking them.
Hamburger. Good.
James's wife, Sandra, says since starting music therapy, her husband spontaneously speaks around the house.
At times, it just comes out, and it would just stop us in our tracks when he'd gone several years and not spoken a word, and communication was almost non-existent.
People with other brain issues also enjoy the benefits of music therapy. Just see the difference it makes for 96-year-old Mike Knutson.
Mike, I'm gonna put your music on, okay?
Yeah.
University of Wisconsin researchers discovered improvements in quality of life indicators like mood and memory when dementia patients like Mike would regularly listen to music.
We've seen members who don't talk very much start to sing.
Mike's family noticed it too.
Music really does something to wake him up and help him to be more engaged with what's going on around him.
The key here is treating the patients to music they love. Since that often varies, each patient listens to their own unique playlist. Mike's daughter noticed such a change, she makes music a part of each visit with her dad.
We feel as though we have been blessed with this whole new experience with Dad. We are able to connect in a completely different way, in a very genuine way.
Listening to music we love triggers the chemical dopamine, which activates our brain's pleasure center.
What you take is what you give.
In addition to prescribing music for his cancer patients, San Diego oncologist Steve Eisenberg goes a step further by serenading them himself. And get this, he writes songs specific to each patient.
Yeah, you're a diamond jewel. You're so cool. You make me smile.
He spoke with my husband for a good hour on the phone, learning all sorts of things about me, my tastes in music, my interests, my hobbies, what's important to me, what my goals are in life. And he really, I felt, captured the essence of me in the song. And it was just beautiful, touching. I could just never thank him enough.
Dr. Eisenberg cites a growing number of studies proving music's value.
So it's just an unbelievable testament, if you will, to
what's been happening with music and healing and cancer patients. And it's what we've always suspected, but now we're actually seeing scans and brain activity sort of that is corroborating what we've always sort of known.
I love you, Lord. So whether you're trying to get well or just maintain good health, music can help by strengthening the mind, lowering blood pressure, and reducing pain and anxiety. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
There was a study today also that showed for you men, if you like music, you're more attractive to women. You didn't know that?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I know, guitar players are always seem more attractive.
Yeah, the guitar players, they've got a whole bunch of fans they call groupies. But anyhow, but that is so. My wife has had a stroke, but when the ladies come from her Bible study, they come to the house and they sing together. My wife, who may be having struggles to get the appropriate words, she can sing along, remember all the words to a song.
It's amazing. And like the guy, they sing like hamburger and steak, and then he can say it. So there's really something to it. I believe that there is a lot of healing.
Well,
a lot of healing.
That was Centera, and this is a local hospital here that has that speech therapy, the music therapy. God bless them.
Amen.
Okay, well, our Scott Ross has gone to the streets.
Yes, he's going to find out what people think about sin.
I just think it got written off years ago.
I just don't use that terminology.
I don't want to go there.
Watch Scott put some folks in the hot seat. Plus, we've got your email from our inbox. Ed wants to know, when praying, do you repeatedly pray for the same thing? Your questions, honest answers, coming up. Well, Scott Ross is known for taking it to the streets and getting the pulse of our nation. Recently, he set out to ask people about a word seldom heard outside the church, and that word is sin.
Question: are people basically good?
I like to believe so. I like to believe so.
Everybody has their own idea about what's wrong, what's right, and what's not.
You're thinking.
I think there's a lot going wrong, but I think people are basically good.
Looking around society now, what do you think?
I'd say you got a 50-50 shot.
Really? Morality, integrity, where is that in our culture today?
Less than it was before. I like to think I'm a very moral person, but you don't see it in society these days with the kids growing up how they are.
I think basically people want to be moral.
I think morality overall in America is pretty low right now.
The morality among the large group of people that still attends church is very high.
Is that a key? Going to church?
The key is the family unit.
That's a good statement, good.
It is.
Take two. You ever hear of the word sin, S-I-N? What does it mean to you?
It means bad, like bad things.
Sin based on the biblical term of sin, or?
It's doing the things that God doesn't want us to do. It's doing things that's going against what is good.
Sin.
All right.
What is it?
I don't know if I equate morality with sin.
No?
No.
You can be immoral and that's not sin.
I think that would be a sin. I guess I just don't use that terminology.
I just think it got written off years ago.
What is sin?
I'm not going to tackle that question. I know better.
Why? Are you a sinner?
Again, I'm leaving that question out of the picture.
Why?
I don't want to go there.
Are you a sinner?
I'm sure I am.
You're sure you are?
I'm just being honest with you.
Have you sinned?
Yes, we all have.
Do you sin?
I don't think so.
You ever sinned? You've never sinned in your entire life, ever? You ever told a lie, a white lie? And did you get caught? What'd you do about it then?
I don't know.
Whew, those were some fun answers. I like the guy who said he didn't want to go there.
Yeah.
Have you ever said, no, I just don't want to go there?
They don't want to go there. The word is sin. You don't hear it any longer. They don't preach it in the pulpits. You know, sin.
Yeah. Well, let's leave it to our Scott Ross to go out and ask the tough questions.
In Greek is hamartira. It means missing the mark. You know, in the Old Testament it said there were so many archers who would throw a stone with a sling, and not sin, not miss the mark. And so God has a standard, and sin is missing the mark. It's coming short of the standard.
That's good. I've heard that before. I like that. All right, we got some great questions. Let's start with Ed, who writes in. He says, when praying, do you repeatedly pray for the same thing? Let's say you're praying for healing or maybe revival in the in the nation. Do you keep praying if you do not see results? Smith Wigglesworth believed that a second prayer on the same matter equaled unbelief. What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, with all due deference to Smith Wigglesworth, who's a great man, Jesus said, keep on praying, keep on knocking, keep on, you remember? You know, and the whole idea is you keep on persevering, and you don't stop praying. You keep on knocking, keep on doing it. It's Greek present tense, which means continuous action. You keep on asking until you get the answer. And if you get the answer, then shut your mouth. If the God says no, then stop asking. But, you know, that's what you have to be sensitive to. But in the meantime, you know, Jesus told a parable about the importune judge. You remember the wicked judge and the widow that came to him? And she kept on asking, and the judge says, look, I'm a nasty old man. I don't give anybody favors. But because this widow keeps on coming, I'm going to give her what she asked for. That was what the answer was. Keep on asking. All right.
Amen. All right, Dee says, in the Bible, God has revealed himself in many ways, and I know that he can still do that today. So do you think that God will reveal himself to people differently depending on the person when we stand before him, when it's just he and the person alone?
I think when it's just you and God, he's going to show himself in mighty power. You will see him as he is, and it'll be terrifying. It is a frightful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. But, you know, over the years, there were so-called theophanies, and, you know, people, there were angels. They said he was an angel of the Lord, and then he appeared like a general or something. So I think God can appear in many ways, and he's not limited in anything that he does. But you ask, when you finally, between you and God, he's going to be the fiery, powerful Lord of creation. And when you see him, you will be scared to death. And like Job said, I've heard about you with the hearing of my ears, but now my eyes behold you, and I abhor myself, and I repent in dust and ashes. When you see God as he is, all that mess that's in your life is going to melt away, and you'll be standing naked before God. That was your question, I think. Okay.
All right, good answer. Here's one from Lee. He says, Matthew 18:20 in the NIV says, for where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there am I with them. What I am not sure I understand is, why is there a need or understanding of prayer chains? Is it the more people that pray for a particular request, the better chance that God hears our prayers? I feel somewhat childish asking this question, but I sometimes overlook the obvious, and this has always been a dilemma for me.
Well, I'm not sure I have a coherent answer, but I don't think you need a whole lot of people. If 2 or more, there is a joining together. 2 of you agree on earth as touching anything they ask. Beyond that, it's superfluous. The more that are praying, the better, I think. I mean, I can't see that it's doing any harm, because you have a petition before God, and there's an assembly of you, and you're in agreement. All of you are in agreement. There's a great power in that.
One can put 1,000 to flight, 2 can put 10,000 to flight, but then it doesn't tell us what 3 can do. So, I mean, we know that there's power in prayer for sure. Okay, Linda says, I've been arguing with an atheist about our God and that he did not create evil, but he keeps throwing up in my face Isaiah 45:7, where it says that God created evil. How do I explain this?
Well, evil comes about when people disobey God. If you know, the whole idea of the tree of good and evil, they didn't have to eat of the tree, they didn't have to sin. And they went by that tree, and every time they saw the tree, they realized eating the tree is bad and not eating is good. So they learned good and evil. So does God create evil? He creates woe. You know, in the Old Testament, there was a concept that God was in charge of everything. And everything came from him, the good and evil. Did he create Satan? Yes, he did. Satan was a fallen angel, but God created him. And he, in a sense, is the author of evil. So do you blame God for that? I don't know if you do or not, but I don't know why it would change your faith to know that he created the devil. And all those little demons, they were all creation of God, and they fell. Did he create the sin that made them fall? No. It was self-will and pride that did it, but they are his creations. It's God's devil, all right?
We had a lot of deep questions today, and Pat, your answers were fantastic as always.
Thank you, man.
Well, still ahead, is texting, Facebooking, and tweeting ruling your life and sabotaging your relationships? Helps ahead for breaking your tech addictions later on today's 700 Club.
Welcome back to the 700 Club. A Palestinian attacker shot and killed 3 Israelis in the West Bank town near Jerusalem today. Israeli police and medical crews say it is one of the deadliest attacks in the last 2 years. The attacker was a 37-year-old Palestinian who approached the back entrance of a settlement. He hid among other Palestinians who were being checked by security forces. At the checkpoint, he pulled out a weapon and began shooting. Authorities are treating the incident as a terrorist attack. A secularist group, Americans United for Separation of Church and State, is demanding that a chapel at a public university in Oklahoma remove the cross on its steeple. The group sent a letter to the school claiming the cross violates the Constitution. East Central University removed its Bible and other Christian-themed items from the chapel. They have not removed the cross. The school is waiting to see if the group will sue. The state attorney general said he would defend the university if they do. Well, you can always get the latest from CBN News by going to our website at cbnnews.com. We'll be back with more of the 700 Club right after this.
And welcome back to the 700 Club. Levi is a 10-year-old Cambodian boy who just wanted to help his parents out. They were working in the field, so he decided to get water for the family. That meant he had to embark on a long journey to a polluted river. And during one trip, he almost drowned.
Levi and his family have always struggled to find water in this remote village of Cambodia. The river where they get water is far from home. It's also dangerous, filled with parasites and bacteria.
My parents were busy working in the field. I didn't have water to cook and clean, so I decided to get the water myself. Then I went under and swallowed a lot of water.
An uncle heard the boy and rescued him. Levi got really sick from falling into the river that day and required IVs and a trip to the hospital.
Levi and other children get sick all the time from the river water. It's hard to watch them suffer.
So working through a mission church in this predominantly Buddhist village, CBN dug a well for Levi and his family. Now, everyone has plenty of clean water whenever they need it.
I like the water from our new well. It's cold and tastes delicious.
Levi and his family were touched by CBN's act of kindness and prayed with the missionary pastor to become Christians.
Thank you for bringing clean water to our family.
I love that story. Clean water, what can you do without it? It's the basic humanitarian aid, and it's something that we do even before we preach the gospel. We make sure people have clean water to drink. I mean, that's only right. And when you join the 700 Club, you can be a part of that. You can be a part of bringing clean water to so many villages and then opening the door to letting them hear the good news of Jesus Christ. If you'd like to do that, just go to your phones right now and say, yes, I want to join the 700 Club. 1-800-700-7000 is the number to call, or you can log on to cbn.com. It's an easy and great way to give. It's just $20 a month, 65 cents a day is all it takes to become a CBN partner. Now, when you join, we have a special gift for you right now. It's Pat's new teaching called Ask Anything. These are biblical answers to some of life's most probing questions, and this is a fantastic resource for you and your family. It's our free gift to you when you call right now and just say yes. Well, up next, help for the tech-consumed family. Learn how to put technology in its proper place in your home after this. Well, here's a novel idea for you. At night, put your smartphone and laptop to bed before you go to bed. And in the morning, you wake up before they wake up. That's just one way to break free from the bondage of technology. Take a look.
Andy Crouch fell in love with computers when his dad brought one home in the 70s. Since then, Andy has seen dependence on electronics rise to alarming rates, almost overnight. He says there's a proper place for devices in our lives, but if we don't learn to put limits on all forms of technology, we'll miss out on the best parts of life. In his book, The Tech-Wise Family, Andy challenges us to reduce our usage or unplug our screens, and offers everyday steps for balancing real life in a cyber world.
And please welcome to the 700 Club, Andy Crouch. Andy, it's very nice to meet you.
Great to be with you.
This is a very controversial subject. Okay, why is it wrong to be addicted to our devices, first of all?
Well, I think a lot of people sense something has gone a little bit wrong. We find ourselves drawn to these things. And I'm not just talking about kids. I often hear parents complaining about their kids being on their phones, which really means looking at a glowing rectangle. Actually, I see just as many parents on their phones. And the only reason that it's a problem is when it prevents us from having the real life we were meant to have with each other.
This friend of mine sent me a photo of her husband and her two sons somewhere out in public. They're all just like this. They're all just looking down at their phone. She says, what's wrong with this picture?
Wrong? And I think this is what we're all asking. I mean, we bought these things for ourselves and for our children and our grandchildren because they make life easier in many ways. But they're actually making some things harder as well.
It's making parenting harder, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Tell us how. How is it?
So we did some research for this book, and we asked parents, what makes parenting difficult? And the number one answer was managing technology.
Wow.
And it's basically it's partly because every other challenge we have as parents, we were able to go to our own parents or grandparents and say, how did you handle this when I was a child?
Oh, yeah.
But none of us grew up with this, and our parents didn't grow up with it. So we are all figuring out as we go along how to have a healthy relationship with technology as family.
Okay, let's talk about your own family. You have a lovely wife, 2 children.
Yeah, Catherine is my wife, and then Timothy and Amy started out as kids, but now they're teenagers. There we all are. We all have glasses. There we are. It's like a Christmas fireplace night, and
that'd be a good Christmas card photo.
That's what we used it for.
and you don't see the devices, so especially. What are you doing, Andy, in your own family to limit the use of devices and become more of a family?
The most important choice we make was to actually take breaks. And so we think the biblical idea of Sabbath, of one day a week, is meant to apply to all these things. So one day a week, for us it's Sunday, none of the devices are on. And then actually 1 hour a day and 1 week a year. So 1 hour a day, for us that's dinner time.
Right.
1 day a week, for us that's Sunday. And 1 week a year we go on a family vacation. and we turn it all off.
Okay, so Sunday. I love that idea, by the way. But, you know, Monday's coming. What if there's an emergency at work? What if your boss is trying to get a hold of you? I mean, how do you really say no to, how do you not go look at it?
So it's incredibly hard when you start. The first time I turned off my email for a whole week of vacation, I, like you, I'm sure, do a lot of my work through email. I thought, how can I do this? But actually, if you keep doing that discipline, it becomes easier and easier. And people learn that there are other ways to get in touch if it's really essential. And we're not legalistic about it. That's not the point.
Sure.
But it is to say, you know, one day a week, let's just have a circuit breaker that we turn off. And we actually do this even for the lights in our dining room. We turn those off at dinner time and light candles.
Oh, I love that.
And dinner by candlelight is awesome. The kids love it. The parents love it. My wife thinks I look younger and more attractive.
Yeah, I would like a candlelight dinner, just
exactly.
FYI. Okay, so
every night.
Okay, so I like to hike, and there's one place in Virginia where I go, and you can't get cell service, and it's so great.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes I spend the night up there, and so I actually really enjoy this, a little break from that.
Yes.
But there aren't that many places that have that option. You really have to turn it off yourself. And you say, like, one thing to do is, okay, the 1 hour a day. I'm finding in my own life, if I get home from work, because I've been on computers and phones all day, sometimes I take like maybe a 2 or 3 hour break.
Yes.
And then when I come back to the phone, it's kind of fun after that, you know?
We need these rhythms. Our devices are designed to work 24/7, but we're not designed to do that. We're designed to have rhythms of work and rest, sleep and wake. So I think building those rhythms in is the way to have a healthy relationship with it, rather than feeling like we're kind of over-connected and actually disconnected from people and from the creation around us.
What about when we're in our cars? You say that we're not making good use of our time in our cars.
I think especially as family, and this is true whether you're parents or grandparents, when you're driving somewhere with other people, this is an amazing opportunity for conversation. But next time if you're on the highway, if you just look at what people are doing in their cars, everybody has their little white earbuds in, everyone's on their own device. And we often do this to make our own lives easier as parents, give the kids something to do, but then you're missing out actually on creating fun together, having great conversations together. So in our family, we decided car time is conversation time. And we actually won't have our earbuds in and we won't have the screens glowing in the back seat. We're going to find a way to stay engaged. And I ended up having some of the best conversations with my kids in their teenage years in the car, which I never expected. But hey, we're all really close.
Kind of captive audience.
Exactly. And sometimes just light talk, but sometimes you get to the really deep, important conversations that might not happen anywhere else.
Well, I know you write in your book, which, by the way, is called The Tech-Wise Family, Everyday Steps for Putting Technology in its Proper Place. I love orange, so it looks like this. Okay, so you say that if you can, don't let your kids have screens before their double digits, before their 10th birthday at home. Of course, it's school. Are you talking about at home or school? Or?
Well, I think children under the age of 10 are made to engage the world in 3 dimensions with their whole bodies. I mean, try to get a child to sit still. They're not designed to do that.
Yeah.
And so actually, I'd say at school, at home, anywhere, I would ideally like to see minimal screens for children. Even at the age of 10, I don't think that means you hand them a smartphone with unlimited data. You start at that point to begin to introduce, there's ways this can be useful in middle school and high school.
Right.
But we really decided we wanted our kids engaged in the real world and in really creative play together. So instead of a TV or screens for them, we had a craft table and we had instruments for them to play and learn. It's much better for children's learning early on to not have those screens.
I know. I have a niece and nephew that are below 10, and sometimes it would be hard to have a conversation with them because they just would not want to look up from that screen.
Exactly.
But they're very well-rounded and very athletic, too, so I guess my sister's doing a good job. All right. Well, an estimated 30% of all internet traffic is pornography, Andy. How can we best protect ourselves and our families from becoming enslaved by this?
Well, this is one reason we have a no phones in the bedroom, no screens in the bedroom policy for kids and parents in our family, and many of the families I know that I really believe are doing this well. And that's just to give us minimal kind of support to our own self-control. But the reality is kids don't have much self-control. Right. And it's not just that they're going and consuming pornography made by others, they're actually pressured to create sexualized images. That's right. And so basically, we've got to be a lot more involved in each other's lives. Yeah. The opposite of addiction is connection. And so all these things that are potentially addictive, the real cure for it is not a bunch of rules, it's deeper connections with each other. And it's us knowing what's on our kids' devices. A friend of mine says to his sons, he has 4 middle school age sons, he says, I'm going to know everything that's on your phone because I'm your dad. And until you leave my house, it's my job. And that's actually a healthy way to parent.
Wonderful. This is such a great topic. And Andy's book is called The Tech-Wise Family, Everyday Steps for Putting Technology in its Proper Place. And it's available nationwide wherever books are sold. Plus, for all you Facebook lovers, we have a social exclusive interview with Andy. To watch that, just go to facebook.com/700club. Andy, thank you for being brave. This is a brave book to write right now. I think people need it.
Thank you,
I need it. God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you. Well, we leave you with today's Power Minute from Psalm 24. May he grant you according to your heart's desire and fulfill all your purpose. Love that one. From all of us here at the 700 Club, thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.